Today it's all about how to make a future bass song, how to start it, how to make the drums, how to eventually end up with a song that sounds similar to this.
Take me, take me, take me to the promised land. This was your final warning.
Hey guys, welcome to the vlog, welcome to my studio. As you know, my name is Sine. I'm a daily vlogger, DJ, producer, and I haven't been in the studio this entire weekend. I mean, Friday I was here short with Team MBL, and you will be a better producer. Just eat it every day.
This is the secret? This is the
Yes,
Sine secret?
That's the secret. Showed them the city, went to a club, party, DJ'd myself. Had a pretty bad hangover.
But it was all worth it. This evening was so much fun.
On Sunday I had to get a Christmas tree. Yeah, we got a tree. And now I'm finally back in the studio today, definitely making music. I took care of all of the business stuff yesterday. As you know, I have a label with now almost 12 artists, which I'm really proud of. Releasing all of their amazing music, help them to promote their stuff and just get it out there. But today it's actually time for me to start a new song, and I haven't showed you in a while how I make my music, because I did a cover song that I couldn't share with you. I made a remix I couldn't share with you, another remix I couldn't share with you. So today finally back to making my own songs and being able to show you step by step how I make them. I've opened up Logic, my DAW of choice. I've loaded up my auto load, so it's my starting point, my template. I made an entire video where I explain how to set it up. It's just to have like a head start and not to have to do every time again all of the buses with the reverbs and effects on it. So it's still empty. I've chosen a speed of 180 BPM to make a kind of a future bass song that is a mixture of future bass and deep house. I love the deep house vibe for the breaks, but for the drops I think the future bass kind of vibe and the chords are more interesting than just keeping it 4 to the floor as it is done in deep house. Whenever you feel the track is too slow or too fast, you can just change the tempo. Just make sure all of your audio clips are also changed to that tempo, otherwise they might be out of sync. I just try to set the tempo before I go into the mixing stage, because a slower track is mixed differently than a fast track. There are huge differences. The slower a track, the more space you have in between of those elements to actually mix. The faster it is, the harder it actually gets. But then really the first step is starting with the drums. That's what I usually start with. I know a lot of people, they start with the melodies, but I like to have the drums all nailed. They're so important for electronic dance music, and it just makes it for me easier to play the chords on top, because then I have already a groove going on and a click to play to, than just like playing the chords without having anything. In the first step I keep the drums simple and easy, just usually kick, snare or kick, clap, a couple of hi-hats, no percussions or any like melodic drum elements that might have a tone in them or a key to them, so that the drum beat stays neutral and I can play any chords on top of it. I do all of my drum program with a plugin called Geist. It's by FX Pension, and I really love it because it's like a drum step sequencer. You just draw in your notes here. For example, down here you could now choose a kick out of your samples and have like a 4 to the floor beat, put the clap on top and be ready to go. But since we want to do a future bass sound, a future bass drum track, we can't go 4 to the floor. So it's not kick, clap, kick, clap. We have to spice it up a little and make it more interesting. I would probably need more steps. You can do that really easily up here. Instead of 16, we can just use 32. So you got double the time. I got a very simple beat. It doesn't sound that exciting, but that's usually how things sound when you just start out with a song, and it's just like the basses, just the kick and the snare in a future bass kind of rhythm, but it all will just come together once you have the chords in there. As long as you don't have them in there, it sounds a little bit awkward, but let's continue with the drums and add some things to the kick and snare. By the way, if you're interested in any of the samples that I'm using, down below in the description is a link where you can download all of the sample packs that I've released. They're all for free. Just click there, get them. It's all just for you to use and start making music. Because when it comes to drums, the most important is definitely the samples. There is not much you can rescue with EQing and compression. Just try to find a good sample and do as little to it as possible. If you have to do a lot to it to get a certain sound, sometimes wise just to change to another sample. Next up, it's time to get the MIDI out of Geist into Logic. You just take this, drag it in here, and then you're basically at the same spot if you would have just done it in MIDI. I still prefer the step sequencer. It's just faster for me, and I'm kind of used to it back in the days from Reason. At the moment, the drum beat still sounds pretty lame and boring, but we can spice it up a little bit with hi-hats. To do it fast at the beginning, as I said, this drum beat is just for me to have a click to actually build the track up on. The finer mixing, finer searching for samples and everything is coming at a later stage. I first want to get as fast creatively as I can and have a song that has a melody and that works, so that I can decide if it's actually worth it to put more time into the mixing and a sound design process. And the fastest way to get more drums in Logic, at least, is to use the drummer. It's like a plugin that does the drums for you. They always sound very live. They're not really good for electronic music, but for this cause, just to get a little bit of speed into the song, it's perfect. So I just picked the very first one. Let's see what happens. So we won't need the tom and the kick drum, maybe just the hi-hats. Just to get it somewhere. At this stage, I don't do a lot to the drums except for maybe a little bit of EQing. As you can see, I EQ'd already the kick, got rid of the very low frequencies, got rid of some of the top frequencies, because this kick is just like the bottom kick. I removed a nasty frequency here around 1000 kilohertz by 12 dB. So if you solo it and just listen to the kick with the EQing, I just cleaned it up. It had some nasty stuff on top, and in the middle part, it's probably sampled from another song. That's why it's sounding so awkward without the EQing. I usually have a top kick in my songs, but right now I don't worry too much about it. Like a kick, a click that you have on top of your kick drum just to make it cut through the mix. I also added already EQing to the snare, cutting away the very low frequencies, boosting a little bit the top end. But the most important on snares and claps is definitely the reverb. I'm using here the Valhalla Vintage Verb, a quite long reverb since the song is so slow. It's 118 BPM, but we're actually just playing it in halftime, so there's a lot of space we have to cover. So let's play it with the reverb. You see, without the reverb, it's just like stopping. And with the reverb, it's flowing. It might be actually a little bit too long. You kind of have to feel it and learn it over the years to get the reverb time right. If it's too long, it just messes up everything, because then the one reverb doesn't stop before the next one starts. So make it short enough so that it definitely stops before the next snare or clap is hitting. But I prefer to do it so that it stops before the next kick is hitting. And if you then add sidechaining onto the reverb, it even sucks to the kick, so it sounds even more dynamic. It's a really nice effect that I actually go every time for on my songs. Another thing I already added is a little bit of stereo delay. It just makes the clap really wide without. This way you have at the end more space for the vocals in the middle. If you make a track without vocals, I wouldn't do it, because having like the punch of the snare in the middle is important. But since whenever you work with vocals, they're more important. Just make room for the vocals. No matter how you do it, just make room for them. They're the star of the song. They need to sit in the middle. I worked a little bit more on the drums. Now we have this entire groove going on. I just added a shaker loop on top of it. With shakers, I never program them. It's just too much all about like the groove, and it doesn't sound real if you just do it with your computer. Definitely go for loops whenever you want to add a shaker. It just doesn't work. It really doesn't. It sounds always awkward. You need the dynamic and you need the groove of someone actually playing it and recording it. I also added another drummer just for stability, and I'm pretty much fine with the drums as they sound right now. It's not perfect at the moment, but enough to keep on working on the song, add the chords. I just think at this point I will continue this tutorial tomorrow with like adding the chords, getting a future bass sound, making the sound design for the chords. That's something a lot of people requested me actually talking about sound design. So tomorrow coming up, chords for the song, sound design for the chords, make them sound future bass. There are a lot of special things you have to consider when you make future bass to make it actually sound like future bass. It's all about how you play the chords and how you actually design the sound. For me, it's now all time to jump to another song I'm working on parallel to this new one. It's actually the second song with Gavin that will hopefully be released at the beginning of next year. I'm still waiting for replacement vocals, but in the meantime, I really want to nail the mixing so that everything is ready once I got the vocals from him to release it as soon as possible. Just as a sneak peek, that's the song with Gavin. That's how far it's already all done. I hope the song that I started today with you will also one day get to this point. I will try and show you everything step by step, so don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow continuing with the chords. And before I sign out, let's do the next giveaway. As you know, I'm doing a giveaway every day up until Christmas. We had already a free mixing, free mastering, SoundCloud repost, and all these kind of things. Today I will just give away 5 more spots on the Sine Team app. That's like an app that you can join and communicate with other people, other producers that are also part of this channel, exchange tips, tricks, and also get and give feedback for other people to their tracks and help them to improve. It's a really great place. I also try to be active in there as much as I can, and it's definitely the fastest way to get privately in touch with me. So just subscribe, enable notifications, leave a comment down below what you want to see in the next episode when I'm continue working on the song, and add hashtag notification squad. I will pick 5 people, invite them, and tomorrow then the next giveaway. So yeah, see you tomorrow back here in the studio, continue working on this new song. I still don't have a name. Maybe you guys have a suggestion. I don't know. Naming songs always hard without any vocals on them.
Don't act like you're the last to know. You had the chance to save her, be her savior. Now leave her alone. This was your final warning. Don't act like you're the last to know. You had the chance to save her, be her savior. Now